What up? Gonna do another how to make a beat in FL Studio video. Gonna keep it pretty simple. Should be pretty educational if you're a beginner, but also there could be some more advanced tricks and stuff. I'll try to call out hotkeys and stuff like that. Let's make some drums. Alright, I'm just gonna start out. We're gonna go to like 130 BPM. We'll go to 132. We'll go to 135. Yeah, just gonna make a really simple pattern. Snare on 2 and 4, kick pretty much on 1 and 3. We'll probably mess around with that. Yeah, I don't want to overthink the drums. I just want to drum. I prefer just making simple drums over using a metronome once we start doing melodic stuff. We'll go and of 2 for the second kick. Hi-hats on 16th notes. Alright, perfect. 12 o'clock, all of these, as I've said in other videos, it should default to 12 o'clock. Nice. Up a little bit. Okay. So in my template that I have made, kicks go on 1, snares go on 3, and hi-hats go on 11. And I'm just talking about channels inside of my mixer. Good enough. Let's make some melodies. Brand new Flex just came out. Yeah, it's interesting. There's not a ton of new packs, but I haven't actually really searched very deep for how many new packs you can buy. You pretty much have this play window, which is ridiculously simple, just these macros down here at the bottom, and then you can go to the edit window where you can get that like deeper control of the plugin, although it's kind of built to just be like a shift through presets plugin. But usually I just go lock the delay and the reverb off just because I'll turn those on if I need them. It's kind of nice. Like I said, we're just going to keep it simple. I'm not overthinking anything. Sure, simple. Not trying to make the greatest beat ever known to man, just trying to practice. So let's do an 808 real quick. We're gonna keep an 808. Now I've got a pretty good trick. There's obviously like a million ways you can do your 808, but we're gonna talk about one thing, which is that not every 808 sample is going to be tuned to C. And if a sample is not tuned to C, you can obviously still use it, but you have to adjust, you have to transpose to make it in key, obviously. And so this is just a quick, easy trick that I like to do. I'll find an 808. That's pretty good. But again, this sample that I'm pulling in, it's not labeled to be tuned to anything specific, so I'm not exactly sure. So before I just pull it in, I go right click it and I click pitch correct, edit in pitch corrector, and that'll open it up in a new tone, and then I can check it. This one is in C. Good. It has like a crazy pitch bend at the beginning, but it's in C. Sometimes I'll even just center it. So then you drag it from your new tone into your sequencer. It'll open it up so that you can piano roll it. Let's do it. So this is a pretty good way to write an 808 line. One, I really like it. Obviously, it's pretty commonly the 808 is just moving along with your kicks. So what I mean by that is, like, I know that we're in the key of E minor, and I'm just going to draw an E note, whatever length, really. It doesn't really matter what length. We just need an E note. I'm going to go sync that up with these. Based on the chord progression, I am going to just change this kick pattern a tiny bit. Maybe put one here. Yeah, so that I can line an 808 up here and do the same right here. So now we just have an 808 that's just E notes, but it's lined up with the kick. So yeah, now we can go highlight all these, press Ctrl G to group them together. So now they're just all inside of one MIDI clip. So yeah, I hear a couple things, like I wanted to slide this little octave shift down. I think that this is going to fit pretty good right here. So I might have a kick go line up with these as well later on, but we'll see. I'm going to add a couple of just little glide notes. So if you just draw a note in and then double click it, it'll open up this note properties window, and you can press this and it'll do a slide. Yeah, I think that's all it needs, just a little glide note, but you can mess around with those. You can get some pretty fun bass lines like that. So yeah, like I said, maybe I'll throw a kick right here to line up with that, and I'll throw a kick right here to line up with that. Cool. So this thing, this little, we can go back to this violin plucky thing right now, and I'm gonna add, like I said, I took the reverb out. Let's see what, I want some reverb. Excellent. All right, let's make these drums big. I have my whole drum group right here, which all routes to this drum master before it routes to the full master. And that way, so it's like a drum bus essentially, and what I can do is now put FX on the entire group of drums. Anything that's drums will get this, and what I'm going to use that to boost these things up. So pretty much just, I'm going to throw a wave shaper, draw a curve, limit it from going past this whatever certain volume, and then I'm just going to boost this pre, and the drum should be louder. Excellent. All right, let's write a little bit more interesting hi-hat part. Just put some like hi-hat rolls and pitch shifts and stuff like that. Like I said, you can, like, it takes 2 seconds to change drums later on, and so sitting there not being productive, just trying to pick the right drums is never the move. Just drag one in, don't overthink it. We'll switch it out later. But we'll probably end up just liking it. There's a lot of ways you can do hi-hat rolls and stuff like that. Stuff like this. Sure. There's two ways that I generally do my hi-hat rolls. One is just highlighting things and pressing Alt-U to open the chop tool. So that'll let you just get, you know, chop certain speeds. But also, pretty recently they added this note repeat feature. If you go down here to the velocities where it says control and right click, you can go to note repeat, and I kind of like this. It's a little bit more random. There's some cool time division, so it's like hard to see, but there's these two little dots. That's essentially where the cuts are, so we're gonna mess with that a little bit too. I have to go back to the melody really quick. I'm going to do the same thing, highlight them both, Control G. And I'm just going to switch up the second half of this loop. I think it gets too repetitive too quick. So just like change a couple notes around, and that's enough variation to keep that sustainably interesting, I think. We kind of have, like, I would call this the bones of a beat now. We have, like, you need a melody, you need drums, you need an 808, and then everything else is sort of bells and whistles and arrangement stuff. What I'm going to do is just duplicate this over a few times. I'm going to start making like a rough arrangement, like maybe for this amount of time. It's just that melody. You could maybe I'll bring the hi-hat in right here. But just start brainstorming arrangement ideas as quick as you can, because our goal is to move this way pretty quickly. So this is me just doing kind of a standard arrangement, and again we can tweak that later on. And so like this would be pretty naturally flowing. We could have like verse, hook, bridge, you know, verse, hook, outro. We'd probably want to do this one more time. Something like this, depending on how long the song should be. So we've got this, And now we're at like 2:15, which you can do. You get the idea. We can go longer, duplicating over, working to the right, not getting super hung up on certain parts. Alright, sidechain the 808. It's on 36. I have my sidechains pre-set up in my template, so I'm just sidechaining with the fruity limiter, and we're gonna go pretty heavy sidechain on this. You can hear now that kick is like cutting into the 808 an extreme amount, and we're gonna go similarly with the snare. See, so now I'm hearing that this kick is like not really the kick for the job here. So let's go mess around. We're just gonna switch it out. I need something, yeah, a little bit more snappy like that kind of cuts through the mix a bit more. That's pretty solid. And now we can turn that kick down a little bit. Alright, and I want this snare to be louder as well, just specifically the snare. But if I turn it up too much, it's just going to slam into this bus compressor that I had turned on earlier. So I'm going to just go do an individual compression on the snare. And I even want this snare to be a bit quicker. So I'm just going to literally go, if you click any sample and press Shift-C, it'll highlight every similar sample in the entire arrangement view. Now, what was in the tail of that snare is now gone, so we can be guaranteed that it only lasts for that amount of time. I'm just going to add some kind of FX movement inside of that flex instance. I'm going to tweak some knobs and stuff, but I do want it to kind of evolve and change as the part progresses, just to make it that much more sustainable so that it could be listened to for 2 minutes and not be annoying. I know I'm going to make an automation clip out of this cutoff knob in here, and as this part progresses, just here, it's going to kind of filter out and then do the same right here. So I guess I can just cut it and duplicate this. So let's listen to that really quick. Maybe we'll make it even a little bit longer. Filters out just to kind of announce the end of each phrase. Space knob, I'm just going to automate this in and out a little bit. It's just going to be slight amounts. That's going to be hard to hear, but it is something, and sometimes those really subtle little movements are what really make something go from feeling repetitive to interesting and human. That's decent, so I'm going to just have it kind of flow the same way that that thing is through the entire track. And now we got a beat. So yeah, I mean, still like ridiculously bare bones. Like if you're obviously got to do more than what we just did right there in the minor details department to like, but maybe not. I don't really know. Sometimes some of the beats that I hear that like people are rapping on is like shockingly simple, and so you don't really know. All you can do is just make a bunch of beats, and that took almost no time. You definitely want to make like at least 100 to 200 of these sort of beats where you're like, I don't give a fuck about anything sounding amazing or me being able to like sell these beats or anything. Like just make a bunch of tracks and then start thinking about that once you have a good workflow and a consistent workflow, an idea of like music theory and rhythm theory and stuff like that. Just don't use Suno because that's for idiots. Peace.